Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Mukesh English, and this is Mukesh Soni. Friends, in this video we are going to have the discussion of the syllabus of first semester BCA General English Syllabus, and it's a new syllabus from the year 2024 according to State Education Policy SCP under Bangalore University. So let's have the discussion of the syllabus of first semester BCA in detail. So to begin with, let's know the skeleton of the syllabus. You have the syllabus is divided into the two sections. One is a prose and poetry, and the another is here language components. In the prose and poetry, you can see on your screen here, there are 8 chapters. Under language components, there are 5 important topics. So let's have discussion in detail about each and every chapter. So the very first section you have here, prose and poetry, and the prose and poetry has the weightage for 50 marks. Language component has the weightage for 30 marks. Very first lesson in the syllabus of first semester BCA General English is here, The Golden Dream. The Golden Dream is written by the famous Kannada writer, Indian writer and novelist in Kannada language, that is Poornachandra Tejaswi. And this is a very short story. This is a short story by Tejaswi. It's about the people in a small village who have big dreams and desires. The story shows how the traditional way of life is affected by the temptation of new and the modern things. Through this story, Tejaswi, he brings out how people's hopes and dreams can change their lives and values. So that's the brief information about The Golden Dream by Tejaswi, sir. Then lesson number 2, shooting off elephant. Shooting off elephant. It's an essay written by the famous British novelist, poet, essayist George Orwell. This essay is about an experience which George Orwell had when he was working as a police officer in Burma. The story describes how he was forced to shoot an elephant which was causing trouble, and he reflects on the pressure to conform to expectations and the conflict between his personal beliefs and his role in the colonial system. So, through this story, he explores the themes of power, duty, and the impact of colonialism. So, this is about the essay Shooting of Elephant by George Orwell. Lesson number 3, Now I Remain for Myself. It's a poem written by Bahinabai Chaudhari, the famous Marathi poet. And this poem is translated from Marathi language to English language. And Bahinabai Chaudhari's poems were not written down by herself, but were memorized and recited by her son Madhusudan, who later published them in the various magazines and books. So this is a poem which shows the expression of the poet's spiritual journey from grief to liberation. The poem shows how the poet has transformed her suffering into an opportunity for self-discovery and enlightenment. The poem also shows how the poet accepted the philosophy of Vedanta, which teaches that the true self is identical to oneself, that is called supreme reality. So that's about a brief information about the poem Now I Remain for Myself by Bahina by Chaudhary. Then the fourth lesson we have here titled The Bet. The Bet is a short story by the famous Russian playwright and short story writer Anton Chekhov. It's a short story about a bet between a rich man and a lawyer. The rich man bets that the lawyer cannot stay alone or in the solitary confinement for 15 years. He bets that you can't stay alone for 15 years. The lawyer accepts the challenge and he spends 15 years' time by reading and learning. As the bet is about to reach to its end, and the bet is coming to an end, the rich man regrets his decision and he tries to avoid paying. He doesn't want to pay the amount which is fixed for the bet. The story explores the themes of human nature, the value of life, and the consequences of our actions. So that's about the story, The Bet by Anton Chekhov, the famous Russian writer. Then the lesson number 5, Who Can Be Called a Great Man, written by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. This lesson is an extract from the address Ranade Gandhi in Jinnah by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar on the 101st birth anniversary of Mahadev Govind Ranade, which held on 18 January 1943. In this address, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, he formulates threefold metric, which he calls as a test to measure the greatness of a great man. He argues that sincerity, excuse me, sincerity, intellect, and the willingness to serve the society in its hours of crisis are the elements which are going to distinguish between the a great man from the eminent man. So it is intellect, it is sincerity, and the willingness. These three important elements are going to threefold metrics are going to distinguish a great man from the eminent man. That's about the article Who Can Be Called a Great Man, written by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Then we have up next, we have here again, we have one small poem, At Railway Station by K.S. Narasimhaswamy. Who is K.S. Narasimhaswamy? K.S. Narasimhaswamy is a famous Indian poet who writes in Kannada language. And this is a translated poem from Kannada to English. In this poem reflects a very poignant conversation between a mother and her daughter Meena. Meena is about to leave on a journey. Through their exchange, the poem captures the mother's concern for a child and Meena's reassurance that, don't worry, everything is in order. So the backdrop of a train journey and the imagery of a moving train, all this setting brings out the theme of departure and separation. So there's an emotional connection and we can see a sweet and the bitter nature of living and parting. So these are the themes we can see in the poem At Railway Station by K.S. Narasimha Swamy. Next poem we have here, titled Corpse, which is written by a famous Tamil writer, Bama. And Bama is a famous Dalit writer at Puthupatti, Tamil Nadu, India. And this poem again translated from Tamil language to to English language. And the central theme of this poem is here, caste-based discrimination and its impact on the social relationship. So that is these are the main important themes of this poem, Corpse by Bama. Then last chapter under prose and poetry, you have here another poem titled Do Not Go Gentle Into That Good Night, that is composed by Dylan Thomas. Dylan Thomas, a famous Welsh poet and writer. This poem first got published in November 1951, and it's written in the form of a villanelle. Villanelle means to say a 19 lines poem. It's a personal poem written for the poet's father, who died on 15 December 1952. This poem is filled with the contradictions, paradoxes, and it's a kind of a refusal of death and its acceptance. So the poem is written as a request to the poet's dying father, expresses the universal human desire to fight against the inevitable end of life, that is death. The central theme of the poem is a struggle against death. So as the poet explores here, the people not to passively accept the fate, but to rage against the dying of the light. So this is the theme of the poem, Do Not Go Gentle Into That Good Night. So these are the 8 chapters you have in your prose and poetry section. That is for 50 marks. Then we are coming to the second section of the syllabus of first semester BCA General English under SCP syllabus 2024. And this language component, this section consists 30 marks. That means to say the grammar has the weightage for 30 marks. So under grammar, we have the first topic, data interpretation. To develop your writing skills, you need to interpret the statistical data into the words. You need to interpret the bar graph, the pie chart, the tree diagram. So a lot of exercises are given into the textbook. When you go through the textbook, you'll get an idea how to interpret. But this topic will definitely help you in the days to go when you face some competitive examination. Second topic you have here, to improve your reading skill and your comprehension skills. There's a comprehension passage, so you need to go through few comprehension passage. You need to read. You will develop the skimming and scanning skill when you go through those comprehension passages. Then the third topic you have here, listening skill. To develop your listening skill, you have two important topics: the difference between listening and hearing, and the different types of listening. So you need to go through in detail. As far as the syllabus is concerned, there will be 2 marks questions on these topics. Then you have the fourth topic in the syllabus, giving instructions. So this is again a language function. Under this language function, you have 3 important sub-themes: how to do a task. For example, how to operate ATM machine, how to operate an ATM machine, how to make a coffee or tea, write the steps, how to use a device, how to direct somebody from one place to other place. So you need to write in the phrases. So you will learn here the language functions under this caption, giving instructions. And the last topic you have here, grammar. So you have very brief topics under grammar, only articles, prepositions, and tenses. So this is how we have discussed here the syllabus of first semester BCA General English. You have 8 chapters and the 5 topics in the grammar. And this is a screenshot of your question paper skeleton, and the question paper will be divided in this manner. You'll be having examination for 3 hours, and the question paper will have the weightage for 80 marks, 20 marks for the internal assessment. Then the question paper is in 2 sections. Section A, 50 marks, where 2 marks 5 questions, 5 marks 4 questions, and 10 marks 2 questions. Then section B, language components, comprehension passage 5 marks, data interpretation 5 marks, listening skill 5 marks, 1 mark each question, giving instructions 3 marks, giving direction 2 marks, articles and prepositions 5 marks, and the tenses for 5 marks. So this is how I have tried to solve the, I have tried to give you an overview of the first semester BCA General English. So stay connected with my channel Mukesh English. In the days to go, you will get the summary and the question answer of each and every video. Each and every video of all the lessons will be available very soon on my channel. So stay connected with my channel. If you are not yet subscribed my channel, please do subscribe the channel, like the video, share the video among your friends. If you have any questions, any queries regarding any academic queries about the syllabus, the chapter, anything, you can mail me at my email ID, mukeshenglish@gmail.com. The email ID is on the screen. So thank you so much. Don't forget to subscribe the channel. Stay connected with Mukesh English.